I would rather be kind than right, for you can always be kind. Spend 5 minutes at the beginning of each day, remembering we all want the same things, to be happy and be loved, and we are all connected to one another. The purpose of our life is happiness. If someone does not smile at you, be generous, and offer your own smile. Nobody needs a smile more than the one that cannot smile to others. Love and compassion are the pillars of world peace. I don't take myself too seriously. That makes me happy. I am just one human being. The goal is not to be better than the other man, but your previous self. It's not enough to be compassionate. We must act like a lamp, dispelling the darkness of ignorance. The question is not to know what is the meaning of my life, but what meaning I can give to my life. Open your arms to change. Don't let go of your values. Peace does not come through prayer. We, human beings, must create peace. If your heart has peace, nothing can disturb you. Sleep is the best meditation. Human beings are of such nature that they should have not only material facilities, but spiritual sustenance as well. Without spiritual sustenance, it is difficult to get and maintain peace of mind. A sense of concern for others gives our lives meaning. It is the root of all human happiness. Real love is not based on attachment, but on altruism. In this case, your compassion will remain as a humane response to suffering. As long as beings continue to suffer, we live within the environment. So that directly relates with our survival, our life. So, through that way, more concern of well-being of humanity than naturally concerned about environment. The more we feel concern for others and seek their well-being, the more friends we will have and the more welcome we will feel. When we have inner peace, we can be at peace with those around us. When our community is in a state of peace, it can share that peace with neighboring communities. Our enemies provide us with a precious opportunity to practice patience and love. We should have gratitude toward them. Our business is to be happy. The true hero is one who conquers his own anger and hatred. Anything that contradicts experience and logic should be abandoned. May I examine my mind in all actions, and as soon as a negative state occurs, since it endangers myself and others, may I firmly face and avert it. Whether or not we follow any particular spiritual tradition, the benefits of love and kindness are obvious to anyone. Most of our problems are related to the mind. We have to work to reduce our destructive emotions. I remain convinced that most human conflicts can be solved through genuine dialogue, conducted with a spirit of openness and reconciliation. When you practice gratefulness, there is a sense of respect toward others. Mutual respect is the foundation of genuine harmony. Once your mind is calm and full of love, there is no room for hatred or fear. Others will trust you because of your open heart. Education is the way to achieve far-reaching results. It is the proper way to promote compassion and tolerance in society. Generosity is the most natural, outward expression of an inner attitude of compassion and loving kindness. If you are honest, truthful, and transparent, people trust you. If people trust you, you have no grounds for fear, suspicion, or jealousy. Looking at the pattern of our existence from birth to death, we can see the way in which we are fundamentally nurtured by others' affection. You must not hate those who do wrong or harmful things, but with compassion, you must do what you can to stop them, for they are harming themselves as well as those who suffer from their actions. A disciplined mind leads to happiness. An undisciplined mind leads to suffering. I am convinced that everyone can develop a good heart and a sense of universal responsibility with or without religion. Instead of wondering why this is happening to you, consider why this is happening to you. Old friends pass away, new friends appear. It is just like the days. An old day passes, a new day arrives. The important thing is to make it meaningful. A meaningful friend, or a meaningful day. The real test of compassion is not what we say in abstract discussions, but how we conduct ourselves in daily life. Delusions are states of mind, which, when they arise within our mental continuum, leave us disturbed, confused, and unhappy. Therefore, those states of mind, which delude, or afflict us, are called delusions. Our prime purpose in life is to serve others. Do not become a Buddhist. The world doesn't need Buddhists. Do practice compassion. The world needs more compassion. Our every action has a universal dimension, a potential impact on others' happiness. If you contribute to people's happiness, you will find the true meaning of life. The key point is to have a genuine sense of universal responsibility. The creation of a more peaceful and happier society has to begin from the level of the individual, and from there, it can expand to one's family, to one's neighborhood, to one's community, and so on. If we remain angry and then sing world peace, it has little meaning. First, our individual self must learn peace. To be extremely self-centered, only interested in your own satisfaction, always brings negative consequences in the long run. It is under the greatest adversity that there exists the greatest potential for doing good, both for oneself and others. All human beings have an innate desire to overcome suffering, to find happiness. Training the mind to think differently through meditation is one important way to avoid suffering and be happy. Each of us has the potential to contribute. You have a great opportunity to make a new shape of the world. If every 8-year-old in the world is taught meditation, we will eliminate violence from the world within one generation. You have to start giving first and expect absolutely nothing. We must generate courage equal to the size of the difficulties we face. Compassion is not religious business. It is human business. It is not luxury. It is essential for our peace and mental stability. It is essential for human survival. Had Tibet not fallen away from Dharma, China could not have invaded. What unites all beings is their desire for happiness. What is the meaning of life? To be happy and useful. I believe in justice and truth, without which there would be no basis for human hope. The smart brain must be balanced with a warm heart, a good heart, a sense of responsibility, of concern for the well-being of others. Smile, if you want a smile from another face. Compassion and tolerance are not a sign of weakness, but a sign of strength. It is our basic right to be a happy person, happy family, and eventually a happy world. That should be our goal. Where is a mind, there are feelings, such as pain, pleasure, and joy. No sentient being wants pain, all wants happiness. Life is as dear to a mute creature as it is to a man. Just as one wants happiness and fears pain, just as one wants to live and not die. If there is a solution to a problem, there is no need to worry. And if there's no solution, there is no need to worry. God exists, or God does not exist. Leave it for us. Your task is to learn how to live peacefully. Anger or hatred is like a fisherman's hook. It is very important to ensure that we are not caught by it. In order to carry a positive action, we must develop here a positive vision. True spirituality is a mental attitude you can practice at any time. Forget the failures and keep the lessons. The real enemy of happiness is the mind's fixations and delusions. If you have the right mind, you can overcome anything. You can be happy. My desire to devolve authority has nothing to do with a wish to shirk responsibility. Without inner peace, it is impossible to have a world peace. A positive state of mind is not merely good for you. It benefits everyone with whom you come into contact, literally changing the world. For discovering true inner nature, I think one should try to take some time with quiet and relaxation to think more inwardly and to investigate the inner world. That may help. First, one must change. I first watch myself, check myself, then expect changes from others. When you engage in fulfilling the needs of others, your own needs are fulfilled as a byproduct. Wherever I go, meeting the public, spreading a message of human values, spreading a message of harmony, is the most important thing. We must recognize that all beings want the same thing as we want. This is the way to achieve a true understanding, unfettered by artificial consideration. When there is too much stress or worry, look within. We can solve many problems in an appropriate way without any difficulty. If we cultivate harmony, friendship, and respect for one another, there must be a way of promoting human values without involving religion, based on common sense, experience, and recent scientific findings. The essence of compassion is a desire to alleviate the suffering of others and to promote their well-being. There should be pluralism, the concept of many religions and many truths, but we must also be careful not to become nihilistic. The more you are motivated by love, the more fearless and free your action will be. Because of lack of moral principle, human life becomes worthless. Moral principle, truthfulness, is a key factor. If we lose that, then there is no future. Love is the absence of judgment. This is my simple religion. There is no need for temples, no need for complicated philosophy. Our own brain, our own heart is our temple. The philosophy is kindness. External circumstances can contribute to one's happiness and well-being, but ultimately, happiness and suffering depend on the mind. Remember that the best relationship is one in which your love for each other exceeds your need for each other. Compassion brings happiness and calmness. Then even if you receive disturbing news, it will be easier to take, as your mind is still moving towards better, rather than moving away from bad, is an attitude of embracing life, rather than rejecting it. To reduce destructive emotions, we need to strengthen constructive emotions. To counter anger, we cultivate love and compassion. The best way to resolve any problem in the human world is for all sides to sit down and talk. We share the earth, not only with our fellow human beings, but with all the other creatures. When we feel love and kindness toward others, it not only makes others feel loved and cared for, but it helps us to develop inner happiness and peace. It is very rare, or almost impossible, that an event can be negative from all points of view. A calm mind helps our human intelligence to assess realistically the situation. We need to learn how to want what we have, not to have what we want, in order to get steady and stable happiness. Buddha urged people to investigate things. He didn't just command them to believe. Just as ripples spread out when a single pebble is dropped into water, the actions of individuals can have far-reaching effects. Sometimes one creates a dynamic impression by saying something, and sometimes one creates as significant an impression by remaining silent. I am increasingly convinced that the time has come to find a way of thinking about spirituality and ethics beyond religion altogether. The training of the mind is an art. If this can be considered art, one's life is an art. Anger and hatred lead to fear. Compassion and concern for others allow us to develop self-confidence, which breeds trust and friendship. Even when we have physical hardships, we can be happy. Anger is the real destroyer of our good human qualities. An enemy with a weapon cannot destroy these qualities, but anger can. Anger is the real enemy. I believe all religions pursue the same goals, that of cultivating human goodness and bringing happiness to all human beings. Though the means might appear different, the ends are the same. I believe that constant effort, tireless effort, pursuing clear goals, with sincere effort, is the only way. Dangerous consequences will follow when politicians and rulers forget moral principles. Whether we believe in God or karma, ethics is the foundation of every religion. Blessings do not come from outside, but from within. Whatever blessings we receive are the result of our efforts and positive actions. Happiness is determined more by one's state of mind than by external events. People assume that happiness stems from collecting things outside of yourself, whereas true happiness stems from removing things from inside of yourself. Even when a person has all of life's comforts, good food, good shelter, a companion, he or she can still become unhappy when encountering a tragic situation. Religion is like going out to dinner with friends. Everyone may order something different, but everyone can still sit at the same table. Great changes start with individuals. The basis of world peace is inner peace in the hearts of individuals. Women have the capacity to lead us to a more peaceful world, with compassion, affection, and kindness. Hatred, jealousy, and fear hinder peace of mind. When you're angry or unforgiving, your mental suffering is constant. It is better to forgive than to spoil your peace of mind with ill feelings. We need an approach to ethics which makes no recourse to religion, and can be equally acceptable to those with faith and those without faith. Our ancient experience confirms at every point that everything is linked together. Everything is inseparable. An open heart is an open mind. If you help and serve others, you will ultimately gain. All sentient beings have the seed of the Buddha within them. I often tease young people about their concern for how they look. More important is inner beauty, compassion, affection, and respect. World peace must develop from inner peace. Peace is not just absence of violence. Peace is, I think, the manifestation of human compassion. Have no discrepancy between what you say, what you are, and what you do. The most compassionate form of giving is done with no thought or expectation of reward, and grounded in genuine concern for others. The challenge today is to convince people of the value of truth, honesty, compassion, and a concern for others. The foundation of the Buddhist teachings lies in compassion, and the reason for practicing the teachings is to wipe out the persistence of ego, the number one enemy of compassion. It is the state of mind of the person wielding the instrument that determines to what end it will be put. Encountering sufferings will definitely contribute to the elevation of your spiritual practice, provided you are able to transform calamity and misfortune into the path. Not only is your own happiness and welfare related to others, but the more you help them, the happier you will be. I pray for a more friendly, more caring, and more understanding human family on this planet. To all who dislike suffering, who cherish lasting happiness, this is my heartfelt appeal. We often add to our pain and suffering by being overly sensitive, overreacting to minor things, and sometimes taking things too personally. Prayer alone will not make a happy life. A happy life must be built. You must act. Only through kindness and love can peace of mind be achieved. Real power has to do with one's ability to influence the hearts and minds of others. Distrust brings frustration and fear. So therefore, the lonely feeling automatically comes. So lonely feeling is not creation of environment, but creation of your mental attitude. Share your knowledge. It is a way to achieve immortality. It's necessary to help others, not only in our prayers, but in our daily lives. If we find we cannot help others, the least we can do is to desist from harming them. Take into account that great love and great achievements involve great risk. Just one small positive thought in the morning can change your whole day. Values are related to our emotions. Just as we practice physical hygiene to preserve our physical health, we need to observe emotional hygiene to preserve a healthy mind and attitudes. Number of people have said to me, after hearing your thinking, their mind becomes much happier. It is our enemies who provide us with the challenge. We need to develop the qualities of tolerance, patience, and compassion. The feeling of being happy or unhappy rarely depends on our absolute state, but on our perception of the situation, on our capacity to be satisfied with what we have. The nature of our motivation determines the character of our work. Through money or power, you cannot solve all problems. The problem in the human heart must be solved first. If others are happy, we will be happy. If others suffer, ultimately, we all suffer. The greater the level of calmness of our mind, the greater our peace of mind, the greater our ability to enjoy a happy and joyful life. The time has come to educate people to cease all quarrels in the name of religion, culture, countries, different political or economic systems. Fighting is useless. Fighting is suicide. You need self-confidence and determination. Feeling depressed and losing hope will never really help to correct any situation. Change only takes place through action, not through meditation and prayer. Always embrace the common humanity that lies at the heart of us all. It is expressions of affection rather than money and power that attract real friends. In order to become prosperous, a person must work very hard and has to sacrifice a lot of time. Anger is the ultimate destroyer of your own peace of mind. Because we all share an identical need for love, it's possible to feel that anybody we meet, in whatever circumstances, is a brother or sister. The more we care for the happiness of others, the greater is our sense of well-being. When, from the depths of your heart, you spontaneously wish all beings to find true, lasting happiness, this is great love. I find hope in the darkest of days, and focus in the brightest. I do not judge the universe. I always believe the rule by king, or official leader, is outdated. Now, we must catch up with the modern world. Time passes unhindered. When we make mistakes, we cannot turn the clock back and try again. All we can do is use the present well. The whole purpose of religion is to facilitate love and compassion, patience, tolerance, humility, and forgiveness. Be gentle with the earth. A truly peaceful mind is very sensitive, very aware. Live a good honorable life. Then, when you get older and look back, you'll be able to enjoy it a second time. We can live without religion and meditation, but we cannot survive without human affection. There are only 2 days in the year that nothing can be done. One is called yesterday, and the other is called tomorrow. Today is the right day to love, believe, do, and mostly to live. The practice of love can be expressed in one sentence. Do not harm others. Only the development of compassion and understanding for others can bring us the tranquility and happiness we all seek. Without love, we could not survive. Human beings are social creatures, and a concern for each other is the very basis of our life together. Feelings of anger, bitterness, and hate are negative. If I kept those inside me, they would spoil my body and my health. They are of no use. Limitless, like the ocean, are your excellent qualities. The way to change others' minds is with affection and not anger. If a harmonious relationship is established amongst societies and religious beliefs in today's multi-ethnic, multi-religious, and multicultural world, then it will surely set a very good example for others. I hold the view that death is rather like changing clothes when they are torn and old. It is not an end in itself. Yet death is unpredictable. You don't know when and how it will take place. There is nothing I can't live without. I learned this attitude when I was a child. Compassion is the radicalism of our time. Real affection comes from the face. Those political leaders, when they meet, they are always hugging, but not very genuine. Deep sincerity comes from face and eyes. If we have no inner peace, we deceive ourselves into thinking that comfort and prosperity will bring happiness. The purpose of all the major religious traditions is not to construct big temples on the outside, but to create temples of goodness and compassion inside, in our hearts. A balanced and skillful approach to life, taking care to avoid extremes, becomes a very important factor in conducting one's everyday existence. My earnest request is that you practice love and kindness, whether you believe in a religion or not. I think technology really increased human ability, but technology cannot produce compassion. The deep root of failure in our lives is to think, oh how useless and powerless I am. It is essential to think strongly and forcefully, I can do it, without boasting or fretting. The enemy is the necessary condition for practicing patience. Happiness mainly comes from our attitude, rather than from external factors. The more contact we have with one another, and the more we come to understand each other's values, the greater will be our mutual respect. Love and compassion are the true religions, but to develop this, we don't need to believe in any religion. If we make consistent effort based on proper education, we can change the world. Spend some time alone every day. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Easy times are the enemy, they put us to sleep. Adversity is our friend, it wakes us up. In order to be happy, we must first possess inner contentment. And inner contentment doesn't come from having all we want, but rather from wanting and appreciating, being grateful for all we have. Everybody wants a happy life and a peaceful mind, but we have to produce peace of mind through our own practice. True enlightenment is nothing but the nature of one's own self being fully realized. We have a responsibility to look after our planet. It is our only home, Each one have the potential to good and bad, and to be overcome by disturbing emotions, such as anger, fear, hatred, suspicion, and greed. These emotions can be the cause of many problems. If our tears do not lead us to act, we have lost the reason of humanity, which is compassion. Through awareness, you get a certain attitude. That's the way you see to achieve more peaceful, more compassion, more friendship through that way. Non-violence is the only way. Even if you achieve your goal by violence, there are always side effects, and these can be worse than the problem. Violence is against human nature. Consider that not only do negative thoughts and emotions destroy our experience of peace, they also undermine our health. Life does not wait. Whether we spend our lives meaningfully or not, the time will be used up moment by moment. Do not use Buddhism to become a Buddhist. Use Buddhism to become better at whatever else in your life you are doing. When you hate someone intensely, 80% of what you think is delusion. Without freedom, creativity cannot flourish. The right to freedom is crucial to progress in any society, and the context is having a sense of global responsibility. To be aware of a single shortcoming within oneself is more useful than to be aware of 1,000 in somebody else. First step in seeking happiness is learning. We first have to learn how negative emotions and behaviors are harmful to us, and how positive emotions are helpful. There is no way to escape death. It is just like trying to escape by four great mountains touching sky. There is no escape from these four mountains of birth, old age, sickness, and death. If we want to save the world, we must have a plan. But no plan will work unless we meditate. Love and compassion are necessities, not luxuries. Without them, humanity cannot survive. With realization of one's own potential and self-confidence in one's ability, one can build a better world. Compassion is of little value if it just remains an idea. It must motivate how we respond to others, and be reflective in all our thoughts and actions. It is not only our right as members of the global human family to protest when our brothers and sisters are being treated brutally, but it is also our duty to do whatever we can to help them. The roots of all goodness lie in the soil of appreciation for goodness. A tree with strong roots can withstand the most violent storm, but the tree can't grow roots just as the storm appears on the horizon. Compassion and love give meaning to our activities and makes them constructive. It's best not to get too excited or too depressed by the ups and downs of your life. The ultimate source of happiness is not money and power, but warm-heartedness. If we continue to approach problems from the perspective of temporary expediency, future generations will face tremendous difficulties. Whether one believes in a religion or not, and whether one believes in rebirth or not, there isn't anyone who doesn't appreciate kindness and compassion. Without technology, the humanity has no future, but we have to be careful that we don't become so mechanized that we lose our human feelings. Wisdom is the best guide, and faith is the best companion. If you want change, create the causes. The more we think of others, the happier we are. The more we think of ourselves, the more suffering we feel. Gratitude is something you show in relation to others. Reason well from the beginning, and then there will never be any need to look back with confusion and doubt. We can benefit others through our actions by being warm and generous, by being charitable, and by helping those in need. Anger and hatred are the real enemies that we must confront and defeat, not the enemies who appear from time to time in our lives. Once a positive goal is chosen, you should decide to pursue it all the way to the end. Even if it is not realized, at least there will be no regret. I am open to the guidance of synchronicity and do not let expectations hinder my path. Today is the right day to love, to believe, to do, and mostly to live. There is a saying in Tibetan, tragedy should be utilized as a source of strength. No matter what sort of difficulties, how painful experience is, if we lose our hope, that is a real disaster. A sense of contentment is crucial to being happy. Physical health, material wealth, and friends contribute to this. But contentment governs our relations with them all. Where ignorance is our master, there is no possibility of real peace. Once you will have a genuine sense of concern for others, there's no room for cheating, bullying, or exploitation. A generous heart and wholesome actions lead to greater peace. Pain can change you, but that doesn't mean it has to be a bad change. Take that pain and turn it into wisdom. Mentally, physically, and emotionally, we are the same. The various features and aspects of human life, such as longevity, good health, success, happiness, and so forth, which we consider desirable, are all dependent on kindness and a good heart. Give the ones you love wings to fly, roots to come back, and reasons to stay. Attachment constrains our vision so that we are not able to see things from a wider perspective. To conquer oneself is a greater victory than to conquer thousands in a battle. Human use, population, and technology have reached that certain stage where Mother Earth no longer accepts our presence with silence. A mind committed to compassion is like an overflowing reservoir, a constant source of energy, determination, and kindness. If you can cultivate the right attitude, your enemies are your best spiritual teachers, because their presence provides you with the opportunity to enhance and develop tolerance, patience, and understanding. Cultivating inner discipline is something that takes time. Expecting rapid results is simply a sign of impatience. Your education tends to develop the brain, while it neglects the heart. So, you have a longing for teachings that develop and strengthen the good heart. Once you encourage the thought of compassion in your mind, once it becomes active, then your attitude towards others changes automatically. Mental happiness is more important than physical comfort. Physical comfort comes from the material, but material facilities cannot provide you with peace of mind. When reason ends, then anger begins. Therefore, anger is a sign of weakness. We must each lead a way of life with self-awareness and compassion to do as much as we can. Then whatever happens, we will have no regrets. Try to improve. Do not expect too much, but don't feel discouraged either. Keep up your enthusiasm. You will make progress. The world will be saved by the Western woman. What I believe, according to my own experience, is that a calm, peaceful mind is a very important element for sustaining the body in a balanced way. If we want spiritual development, the practice of patience is essential. If you focus only on yourself and neglect others, you will lose, but you will gain if you value others as much as you cherish yourself. Try to remain truthful. The power of truth never declines. Force and violence may be effective in the short term, but in the long run, it's truth that prevails. Spend 5 minutes breathing in, cherishing yourself, and breathing out, cherishing others. If you think about people you have difficulty cherishing, extend your cherishing to them anyway. Every religion emphasizes human improvement, love, respect for others, sharing other people's suffering. On these lines, every religion had more or less the same viewpoint and the same goal. Spirit is a land of high white peaks and glittering, jewel-like lakes and flowers. Life is sparse and sounds travel great distances. Affection is important because it counters anger, hatred, and suspicion that can prevent our minds from functioning clearly. Choose to be optimistic. It feels better. The past is past, and the future is yet to come. That means the future is in your hands. The future entirely depends on the present. That realization gives you a great responsibility. Even a small act of compassion grants meaning and purpose to our lives. No material object, however beautiful or valuable, can make us feel loved, because our deeper identity and true character lie in the subjective nature of the mind. Sin contains its own judgment and punishment. Peace of mind is the basis of a healthy body and a healthy mind. Ultimately, the reason why love and compassion bring the greatest happiness is simply that our nature cherishes them above all else. The need for love lies at the very foundation of human existence. When we meet real tragedy in life, we can react in two ways, either by losing hope and falling into self-destructive habits, or by using the challenge to find our inner strength. Through violence, you may solve one problem, but you sow the seeds for another. The essence of all religions is love, compassion, and tolerance. Kindness is my true religion. The clear proof of a person's love of God is if that person genuinely shows love to fellow human beings. Someone consider me as a living Buddha. That's nonsense. That's silly. That's wrong. If they consider me a simple Buddhist monk, however, that's probably okay. Brute force, no matter how strongly applied, can never subdue the basic human desire for freedom. It is our collective and individual responsibility to preserve and tend to the environment in which we all live. Today, different ethnic groups and different nations come together due to common sense. One has to try to develop one's inner feelings, which can be done simply by training one's mind. This is a priceless human asset, and one you don't have to pay taxes. The planet does not need more successful people. The planet desperately needs more peacemakers, healers, restorers, storytellers, and lovers of all kinds. Do not think only of your own joy, but vow to save all beings from suffering. This is sharing in its highest form and purity beyond all poisons of this world. Every day think as you wake up. Today, I am fortunate to be alive. I have a precious human life. I'm not going to waste it. When you think everything is someone else's fault, you will suffer a lot. When you realize that everything springs only from yourself, you will learn both peace and joy. When we are motivated by compassion and wisdom, the results of our actions benefit everyone, not just our individual selves. Whenever there is a challenge, there is also an opportunity to face it, to demonstrate and develop our will and determination. Don't ever mistake my silence for ignorance, my calmness for acceptance, or my kindness for weakness. I hope that at this moment you are thinking of yourself as a human being rather than as an American, Asian, European, African, or member of any particular country. These loyalties are secondary. Once a year, go somewhere you have never been before. Compassion, tolerance, forgiveness, and a sense of self-discipline are qualities that help us lead our daily lives with a calm mind. The ultimate source of my mental happiness is my peace of mind. Nothing can destroy this except my own anger. A learned person will become noble only when he or she has put into real practice what has been learned instead of mere words. My message is always the same: to cultivate and practice love, kindness, compassion, and tolerance. Man sacrifices his health in order to make money. Then he sacrifices money to recuperate his health. Inner values, like friendship, trust, honesty, and compassion, are much more reliable than money. They always bring happiness and strength. A genuine transformation that results from sustained, concerted effort is long-lasting because it has a firm foundation. Your friend, your enemy, your neutral, all are equal. Genuine compassion is unbiased. It is important to pray for peace, but you must also take action to make that happen every single day. If you cultivate loving kindness, compassion, and concern for others, there will be no room for anger, hatred, and jealousy. Laughing in full abandonment is very good for your health. We are basically the same human beings who seek happiness and try to avoid suffering. Everybody is my peer group. Your feeling, I am of no value, is wrong. Absolutely wrong. Certain beliefs must accompany every action. One should act without selfishness, cultivate compassion for all living things, and develop respect for others. By deceiving one another through false assumptions and misrepresentations, there has been, in reality, a great lapse and delay in achieving the real goals. One can overcome the forces of negative emotions, like anger and hatred, by cultivating their counterforces, like love and compassion. From adversity, we can learn the value of patience. If you don't love yourself, you cannot love others. You will not be able to love others. If you have no compassion for yourself, then you are not able of developing compassion for others. A truly compassionate attitude toward others does not change, even if they behave negatively or hurt you. Never give up. No matter what is happening, no matter what is going on around you. Never give up. In most cases, my visits to the West are for promotion of human values and religious harmony. Compassion naturally creates a positive atmosphere. As a result, you feel peaceful and content. I always tell my Western friends that it is best to keep your own tradition. Changing religion is not easy and sometimes causes confusion. You must value your tradition and honor your own religion. Don't be a person of success. Be a person of value. The more we are concerned for the well-being of others, the closer we will feel to each other. Home is where you feel at home and are treated well. To defy the authority of empirical evidence is to disqualify oneself as someone worthy of critical engagement in a dialogue. From the scientific view, the theory of karma may be a metaphysical assumption, but it is no more so than the assumption that all of life is material and originated out of pure chance. If you have a particular faith or religion, that is good, but you can survive without it. Instead of harboring fear and suspicion, we need to think of other people, not as them, but us. When I meet people from other cultures, I know that they too want happiness, and do not want suffering. This allows me to see them as brothers and sisters. Passion is what gives sense to our life. Happiness comes through taming the mind. Without taming the mind, there is no way to be happy. Violence will only increase the cycle of violence. I describe myself as a simple Buddhist monk. No more, no less. Friends, genuine friends, have much more to do with whether we have a warm heart, not money or power. If the mind is dominated by hatred, the best part of the brain, which is used to judge right and wrong, doesn't function properly. I believe each human being has the potential to change, to transform one's own attitude, no matter how difficult is the situation. I believe compassion to be one of the few things we can practice that will bring immediate and long-term happiness to our lives. I believe all suffering is caused by ignorance. A lack of transparency results in distrust and a deep sense of insecurity. Because we all share this planet Earth, we have to learn to live in harmony and peace with each other and with nature. This is not just a dream, but a necessity. If the work is worthwhile, whether we can complete it or not, it's worth making the attempt. That's why courage is important. When we are caught up in a destructive emotion, we lose one of our greatest assets, our independence. What we do and think in our lives then becomes of extreme importance, as it affects everything we're connected to. We can never obtain peace in the outer world until we make peace with ourselves. All suffering is caused by ignorance. People inflict pain on others in the selfish pursuit of their happiness or satisfaction. Soul is at home in the deep, shaded valleys. Heavy torpid flowers, saturated with black, grow there. The rivers flow like warm syrup. they empty into huge oceans of soul. If we looked down at the world from space, we would not see any demarcations of national boundaries. We would simply see one small planet, just one. We need material development, but we need to understand that by itself, it doesn't bring peace of mind. The way to overcome negative thoughts and destructive emotions is to develop positive emotions that are stronger and more powerful. Patience, as we wait to take action, is a kind of compassionate mind. Impatience, on the other hand, can be a source of failure. In the modern world, the interests of a particular community can no longer be considered to lie within the confines of its own boundaries. All major religious and traditions carry basically the same message. That is love, compassion, and forgiveness. Important is, they should be part of our daily lives. If we can cultivate a concern for others, keeping in mind the oneness of humanity, we can build a more compassionate world. Everything is interconnected. My interest is linked to everyone else's. Our survival and future are linked. Therefore, the destruction of your so-called enemy is actually destruction of yourself. Most of our troubles are due to our desire for and attachment to things that we misapprehend as enduring entities. Genuine happiness consists in those spiritual qualities of love, compassion, patience, tolerance, and forgiveness, and so on. For it is these which provide both for our happiness and others' happiness. As human beings, we have the same experience of destructive and constructive emotions. We also have a human mind capable of developing wisdom. We all have the same Buddha nature. Compassion is something really worthwhile. It is not just a religious or spiritual subject, not a matter of ideology. It is not a luxury. It is a necessity. Every human action becomes dangerous when it is deprived of human feeling. When they are performed with feeling and respect for human values, all activities become constructive. It is the enemy who can truly teach us to practice the virtues of compassion and tolerance. Since we desire the true happiness that is brought about by a calm mind, and such peace of mind arises only from having a compassionate attitude, we need to make a concerted effort to develop compassion. If an individual has a calm state of mind, that person's attitudes and views will be calm and tranquil, even in the presence of great agitation. Tragedy should be utilized as a source of strength. Every man has the basis of good, not only human beings. You can find it among animals and insects. Remember that sometimes not getting what you want is a wonderful stroke of luck. If we try to secure the well-being of others, we will, at the same time, create the conditions for our own. Compassion, along with love, is the face of altruism. You are the people who are shaping a better world. One of the secrets of inner peace is the practice of compassion. I always try to share with others the idea that in order to become compassionate, it's not necessary to become religious. If you serve others as fully as you can, what you do will be a source of inner joy. We have a natural creative ability, and it is very important to realize this. The real destroyer of inner peace is fear and distrust. Fear develops frustration. Frustration develops anger. Anger develops violence. The period of greatest gain in knowledge and experience is the most difficult period in one's life. Every human action, whether it has become positive or negative, must depend on motivation. I think that ethical behavior is another feature of the kind of inner discipline that leads to a happier existence. Human satisfaction must ultimately come from within oneself. Peace isn't the mere absence of violence. Peace must come from inner peace, and inner peace comes from taking others' interests into account. Compassion is the wish for another being to be free from suffering. Love is wanting them to have happiness. Unlike an external enemy, the inner enemy cannot regroup and launch a comeback. Once it has been destroyed from within. By far, the single greatest danger facing humankind. In fact, all living beings on our planet is the threat of nuclear destruction. When something needs to be done in the world to rectify the wrongs, if one is really concerned with benefiting others, one needs to be engaged. This is action out of compassion. Fear, hatred, and suspicion narrow your mind. Compassion opens it. Today more than ever before, life must be characterized by a sense of universal responsibility, not only nation to nation and human to human, but also human to other forms of life. It is lack of love for ourselves that inhibits our compassion toward others. If we make friends with ourselves, then there is no obstacle to opening our hearts and minds to others. As far as ignorance is concerned, not just Buddhism, every religion recognizes it as the source of suffering. The proper use of our intelligence and knowledge is to effect changes from within, to develop a good heart. It is worth remembering that the time of greatest gain in terms of wisdom and inner strength is often that of greatest difficulty. Everything you do has some effect and some impact. Do not let the behavior of others to destroy your inner peace. We need to understand how destructive emotions affect us, and constructive emotions can help us, so that we can maintain our peace of mind. The best way of fulfilling your own interest is to take care of others. Appearance is something absolute, but reality is not that way. Everything is interdependent, not absolute. Anger, hatred, and jealousy never solve problems. Only affection, concern, and respect can do that. Too much self-centered attitude brings isolation. Result loneliness, fear, and anger. The extreme self-centered attitude is the source of suffering. Through difficult experiences, life sometimes becomes more meaningful. If a person's basic state of mind is serene and calm, then it is possible for this inner peace to overwhelm a painful physical experience. A good friend, who points out mistakes and imperfections, and rebukes evil, is to be respected, as if he reveals the secret of some hidden treasure. Happiness is the highest form of health. True happiness comes from having a sense of inner peace and contentment, which in turn must be achieved by cultivating love, altruism, and compassion, and by eliminating anger, selfishness, and greed. I think, in many ways, narrow-minded attitudes lead to extreme thinking. Genuine peace is based on inner peace, because you cannot build peace on the basis of anger. Human happiness and human satisfaction must ultimately come from within. It is wrong to expect some final satisfaction to come from money or from a computer. Inner darkness, which we call ignorance, is the root of suffering. The more inner light that comes, the more darkness will diminish. This is the only way to achieve salvation or nirvana. I believe that we are fundamentally the same, and have the same basic potential. The three types of misery are the misery of suffering, the misery of change, and pervasive misery. Generally speaking, if a human being never shows anger, then I think something's wrong. He's not right in the brain. Since periods of great change, such as the present one, come so rarely in human history, it is up to each of us to make the best use of our time to help create a happier world. When you talk, you are only repeating something you already know. But if you listen, you may learn something new. Some people, sweet and attractive, and strong, and healthy, happen to die young. They are masters in disguise, teaching us about impermanence. Without your own effort, it is impossible for blessings to come. Judge your success by what you had to give up in order to get it. True compassion is not just an emotional response, but a firm commitment founded on reason. If we have a positive mental attitude, then, even when surrounded by hostility, we shall not lack inner peace. I have come to the conclusion that whether or not a person is a religious believer does not matter. Far more important is that they be a good human being. We need a little more compassion, and if we cannot have it, then no politician, or even a magician, can save the planet. Use your human intelligence in the best way you can transform your emotions in a positive way. Historically, the East was more concerned with understanding the mind, and the West was more involved in understanding matter. A heart full of love and compassion is the main source of inner strength, willpower, happiness, and mental tranquility. Love and kindness are the very basis of society. If we lose these feelings, society will face tremendous difficulties. The survival of humanity will be endangered. There are two kinds of satisfaction or happiness. One mainly through mental peace, another physical comfort. In disagreements with loved ones, deal only with the current situation. Do not bring up the past. Don't let a little dispute injure a great relationship. Peace does not mean an absence of conflicts. Differences will always be there. Peace means solving these differences through peaceful means, through dialogue, education, knowledge, and through humane ways. In our daily life, a certain way of thinking makes us happy, and a certain way of thinking makes us unhappy. In other words, there are certain states of mind which bring us problems, and they can be removed. Let us try to recognize the precious nature of each day. Other human beings have a right to peace and happiness that is equal to our own. Therefore we have a responsibility to help those in need. Forgiveness doesn't mean forget what happened. If something is serious, and it is necessary to take countermeasures, you have to take countermeasures. When you realize you made a mistake, take immediate steps to correct it. In the final analysis, the hope of every person is simply peace of mind. If you wish to experience peace, provide peace for another. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your actions. Look at situations from all angles, and you will become more open. A positive future cannot emerge from the mind of anger or despair. Because the 20th century was a century of violence, let us make the 21st a century of dialogue. Basically, from the viewpoint of real human value, we are all the same. My message is the practice of compassion, love, and kindness. There are so many things I could say about you, but none of them can describe you fully. You are the beauty I was waiting for, the love of my life, of whom I dreamed day and night. World belongs to humanity, not this leader, that leader, or that king, or prince, or religious leader. World belongs to humanity. Like the lotus, which thrives in mud, the potential for realization grows in the rich soil of everyday life.